sports show talking local, regional, and national action. Here's Bobby Chaffee and Rodney Rodriguez.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another Monday night edition of everybody's favorite racing talk and entertainment show. This is indeed the Revved Up Sports Show. Showtime. Bobby Chaffee right here. The Iceman, Rodney Rodriguez. That's the man over there pressing the buttons and whatnots over there.
Hello, friends.
How's your day?
Long, dude, long. Had lots to do today, man. Then had to go pick up groceries in the middle of the day. Forgot all about that. Lots of things to do, man. Lots of things to do as we embark into a brand new week of, dude, it's going to cool off around here finally. Gonna cool off.
Well, I mean, cool off into the 80s. I mean, you know.
Well, you know, I'll totally take that. I will totally take that. It's been off the rails, man. I'm just glad that we get cool. Hey, here's the cool thing about this, guys. It is Lone Star 600 weekend. So this is a big deal right here. This really is. I've talked to a lot of folks around the country. This really is the coolest race of them all. And we have it right here in our own little Devil's Bowl Speedway out in Mesquite, Texas.
What do you call that? Our front yard or our backyard being up in a Metroplex? I guess from us, it's our front yard, right?
Yeah, I would think so. It's like I always, when I'm doing football, you know, I've been not trained, but kind of trained, inadvertently by the great Craig Way. And it's always talking about going north to south, you know, coming across your screen, north to south, right to left, whatever the case is. And there's a lot of times where I'm sitting there, and depending on the location, it's like, okay, north to south, but wait a minute, I'm facing east. So, you know, but I would definitely say front porch, because that definitely is our front porch, way up there. Hopefully weather not an issue. I mean, I'm not all about...
Might be till Thursday, but...
Yeah, I know a lot of folks. It's like when I'm talking about races, they're like, hey, don't be saying the R word. I'm like, yeah, it may fucking rain.
And we need it, too, fortunately.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, I saw I-37, you know, they need the rain, so they're kind of backing their race off there on the 14th. Probably a good call, because you've got a dueling event happening at the same time. So,
yeah, that's probably a good. That's probably a good. I would say that the rescheduling had more, or the postponement or cancellation, whatever you want to call it, had more to do with the Oktoberfest than it did with the weather.
Yeah. No, I think that's probably the same thing with that. And again, that's where we can go back to, you know, some cooperation right there on the part of racetracks and lots of race dates to try to figure in and all of that. But, you know, it is what it is. And that's totally fine. However it all works out, that's pretty cool. Hey, guys, 6:45. Blake Hahn is going to check in. We're going to talk with him. Big race win out at the Rocket Launcher 30. Great resume that we have from Blake Hahn, so that's going to be a lot of fun to talk to. He's actually going to a county fair. He's actually going. He's at a county fair, and he's like, dude, I'll be glad to check in with you. It may be a little loud, but I'll check in with you.
It's like, maybe that's one of those where you're forced to go, and you're like, any excuse I can use to get out of this deal, I'm going to use it.
Yeah, he's like, I got to go take a piss. I'll be back in about 20 minutes. Maybe that's what's happening right there. And then coming up right around 7:10, our man Phil Whipple's going to rejoin us, and we have our 2023 Short Track Promoter of the Year. And I've had folks that message me anytime that we do Driver of the Year, you know, Touring Driver of the Year, Promoter of the Year. I get folks reaching out, and I'm like, guys, I have no clue, and you don't either.
I have no idea.
I'm like, I know one person on that committee. And I only know that person on the committee because that's kind of the person in charge of trying to wrangle the people together.
The only one we know on the committee is Phil.
Well,
actually, one more.
One more. That is kind of in charge of trying to put all that shit together, because it's a couple of people trying to get some racing dudes to come to a decision, and that's what all that is. So when you folks reach out to me and it's like, hey, here's what I think. I have no clue. I do not. Look, I work for so many different people. It's like one of those things. I have a lot of pimps is the way that I like to talk
We don't
about it.
like to pick sides when it comes to promoters.
Yeah, I mean, because all the promoters. I mean, and I saw something this week, where there was a racetrack for sale, and I'm like, all right, here you go. It was our man. It was our man from XR, Barry Braun, posted something to where it's like, okay, promoters, here you go. Here's a racetrack. Take charge of it and do it. And it's like, no comments.
Nothing. That was like a cricket post right there.
Yeah. And our man Milton Hope is like, there's 2,000 promoters in the stands. I'm like, what? What track?
Well, I mean,
yeah, no, I totally get what he was talking
there's
about.
armchair promoters and trackside promoters
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. One thing I do want to talk about, and we'll talk to Blake here in a little bit, and then Phil will come on, and we can carry this particular discussion on throughout the evening. But Bobby, I we saw something this past weekend, and let's roll some highlights right here. Here we go. Trucks in Talladega. Here's the crash. You always know that you're going to have something big that's going to happen in Talladega. We can turn this up to get their thoughts.
Battling for space. A little bit of space. Brett Holmes, tough break. Brett's had a great run here.
Look at all these trucks.
I mean,
hard contact.
12 to 15 with contact.
Yeah, Greg Van Alst. Hard contact.
Yeah, and Greg Van Alst to the hospital there with fractured vertebrae. So hopefully everything okay. I mean, he's been on this show before too.
Yeah, after he won the big race. He started the season at Daytona as the big ARCA winner.
Yeah. There you go. You have that happening right there. Again, Bobby, this is very much a byproduct of super speedway racing. I mean, you're gonna have this stuff happening when you get guys that are going to get together, and it's like each and every time that happens, there's a lot of conversation about whatever the case may be. But again, that happens. That's what happens on a racetrack like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the byproduct of the super speedway racing, not plate racing. Super speedway racing is the cars are designed because that's what people wanted. They wanted to see the big packs together. They wanted to see them race 3 wide. They wanted to see them nose to tail. That's why the aero package is what the aero package is when it comes to the super speedway races, because that's what it is now. Is it's designed to be pack racing. Mm-hmm. So what the aero package is Atlanta for, because now it's a mini super speedway. We should have got our man Roper on to talk about that deal too.
Oh, I know, man. That would have been awesome to have him on there, on here to kind of break everything down that went down right there. But it's one of those situations to where we watch so many different times with some of the young drivers to where, again, a byproduct of what you're going to see right there. But I mean, don't run your mouth off. Don't run your mouth off, because this is where we go to a different time and place to where you watch some of these guys, and it's some of these older racers that we're talking about. These guys don't put up with that bullshit, and that's exactly what happened this past weekend there at Talladega.
Well, I think what's funny is that Sanchez had a completely different attitude there towards the end.
Yeah.
Did you was that his PR rep or his mom's like, yeah, we're not going to answer that. No, thank you. Interview's over. It's like, damn.
Yeah. I think so. It was like, let's not get into any of that. Let's take a look at right here. I'm going to cue it up right here. Let's take a look and see exactly what Mr. Chaffee is talking about right here.
You stuck to the wrong guy, motherfucker. Oh my God. What the fuck's this guy? It's on now. Right there. I got two holes, motherfucker. That's my boy again. Fucking kill me ass. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'll whip your ass.
We should have did a language warning.
I'm gonna kill you. Oh, it's all right. We do whatever the hell we want to do. There it is. In case you missed the first part.
I'm gonna fucking kill you in Homestead. You stuck to the wrong guy, motherfucker.
Says the youngster. And the funny thing is, I caught a lot.
He says that as he's bloodied up and beaten. He already got his ass beat at that point too. That last little picture you saw was not Halloween blood. I mean, he got his ass beat. I'm not talking like a Ty Gibbs punch to the face on like Sam Mayer. I'm talking like, WWE beating your ass, bleeding kind of. kind of bleeding right there, busting his ass.
That was one of the funniest things this weekend, because on the Twitter, I caught a lot of shit this weekend on Twitter for different things that I was saying. But after that happened right there, I'm like, I posted a picture of the old 2020 with Eddie Mansfield, blading and wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, I don't think Nick Sanchez was blading when this happened. He got the shit beat out of him.
Yeah.
And here's the other part. And we've got, I'm not going to find it at this point, but Matt Crafton, and here's what was really pissing me off as an old man racer, it's all these different people saying, well, Matt Crafton, you need to retire. What have you done? What have you done?
Hell, 2 or 3 time series champion.
Yeah, and this is where we go back to some of the new school racing fans, and it's like, what has he done? Are you kidding me? This is one of the baddest
The staples of the truck series.
Yeah, are you kidding me? This is, when I think of truck racers, you've got Mike Skinners, you got Jack Sprigg, you've got all of these guys. I put Matt Crafton right in that bunch right there because that dude is that good. And then I posted something about, well, Matt Crafton's been doing some dirt track racing. I guess the dirt track racing came out of him. Oh, my God.
Uh-oh, you lit that fire there.
Oh, my God. I got killed over that one as well. It was like, okay.
You stuck the dynamite in the middle of the shitstorm with that one.
Dude, it was like, oh, my God. I'm like, okay, guys, I'm just trying to prove a point right here. But here's the other thing that I go back to. The conversation, when you listen to Matt Crafton's response, and again, we haven't actually seen him, but what he's talking about, there was no sucker punch. There was no sucker punch. He said he walked up to him, and Sanchez, and Sanchez is a great young racer, but he disrespected him. He went back and started shouting obscenities. And when you fuck with an old dude, that's what tends to happen.
That's right. No, old dudes don't take a lot of shit.
No, they don't. When you've got guys that have been through the ringer and guys that have had to work their ass off and guys that do shit the right way, you can't go off spouting off and trying to be like, it's like when we played the video a couple of weeks ago with Newman and Logano. Maybe I did that on the other show. I don't remember. But where Logano's like, dude. And Newman's like, don't fucking dude me. So I don't know, man. That respect goes a long way in this game, and I love Nick Sanchez. He is a great talent, but
he's still rough around the edges.
I think that's a humbling moment right there for him. What is NASCAR going to do about this? A lot of people want them both thrown out. Nah, just leave them alone.
NASCAR is going to love the publicity going into Homestead in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, especially when Sanchez is going to kill him. That should be interesting. And I saw some stuff on Mainstream where it's like, Nick Sanchez should be arrested because he's going to kill this guy.
Jeez. This is when you get people outside. I'm sure Barstool Sports would be like, racer threatens to kill another racer.
He ain't going to kill him. Are you kidding me? Come on.
We've all said, I'm going to kill you son of a bitch, at some point in our lives, and never actually did it.
Yeah, it's like, it's getting totally blown out of proportion right here with what's going on right there. But it goes back to one of those things to where, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. That's where maybe at times cooler heads can prevail. And
what's that old saying? Don't let your mouth write a check that your ass can't cash.
Well, that's exactly right. That's exactly right, and it's never more evident than when you get into this. Because we see a lot of racers, a lot of younger racers these days, to where they get into a discrepancy like that, or there's a miscommunication, and they want to sit there and they hand check and do different things right there. But like we're talking about, you get into a situation like that with Matt Crafton. Don't go write a check that your ass can't pay off, because
that's right.
He's going to get you. He is absolutely going to get you, and that's not a good thing that happened right there. And that was definitely a bloodied up Nick Sanchez that we saw. And of course, the other part that I saw as we continue to work here for Blake Hahn at the county fair. Probably can't hear his phone. Probably can't feel it. He's probably might be on the Ferris wheel at the moment.
That'd be a hell of an interview. That's a Russ first after 7 years.
For that dude, being on the Ferris wheel, that would be nothing compared to what he does on a regular basis. But The other part about that is with the Matt Crafton, Nick Sanchez thing. Don't be beating up a kid. Dude's 22.
Yeah.
Dude's 22.
Talk shit, get hit.
You go into a big man sport, and again, this is just the bottom line. You go into a big man sport, you talk a bunch of bullshit, and that's the stuff that's going to happen to you. And that's exactly what happened to Nick Sanchez. And I think he will think better before he does it the next time.
Man, more than likely, you'd think so.
Yeah.
Most people don't get a second chance at ass whooping. So
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Let's go to the hotline. First time tonight here on Revved Up, the Revved Up Sports Show, coming to you live from Texas. We head to the county fair. I believe it is, as I mentioned. Sapulpa, Oklahoma's own Blake Hahn, winner this past weekend over at Rocket Raceway Park. Mr. Blake, how we doing, sir?
Oh, pretty good. How are you guys?
Doing well, man. So we were talking about you when you mentioned you were going to be at the fair. You're not like on a Ferris wheel or a tilt-a-whirl or one of those things, are you?
Nope, not yet. We're actually sitting inside a building, just checking all the stuff out right now.
Love it. That's awesome. Blake, talk about the weekend, man. You go on out with the Winged Warrior right there, and you take the win. Kind of guide us through everything that went down this weekend.
Yeah, really, we had a good weekend. It was good for us. So we're not too far traveling from Tulsa, and had to go 3 short hours down the road and run our 410. So it was something pretty nice that we haven't been able to do a lot this year. We have been doing a lot of traveling. So be able to go down there and run the 410 was nice. And I got to see a bunch of friends down there too. So that was really cool. But we had a really good night. Had a pretty good draw. Was able to start second row outside of our heat race and jump to the lead pretty early there. And that was our first time at the track. So we were just kind of getting comfortable. And that place is really fun. There's a lot of banking in the front straightaway and even in the corners that you don't see from the grandstand until you get out there. So, once I got pretty comfortable out there, we were making some pretty fast laps. So, knocked that heat race out of the way. Was able to pick up the win and went to the dash. And it was nice to be able to run the dash, get a few extra laps out there, and try some stuff on the car. So, like I said earlier, just being close to home and kind of having a little bit of an off weekend and be able to go down there and try some stuff on our car was nice to get some extra laps. So it was a really good night. We had a good car, and we were able to win the dash and started the front row of the A feature. I knew if I went out there and honestly just put some good consistent laps down, it should be ours. So, we were happy to be able to pick up the win, and most of all, just got some good laps on our belt with the 410.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, Blake, as a 410 driver, we get this question a lot from race fans and different kind of promoters and stuff. You've got your 3 main cars. You got the 410s, the 360s, and the 305s. What we've come to figure out is that your hardcore sprint car fans are going to know the difference between the 3 of them, but your average race car fan just looks and says, hey, that's the car with the wing, and don't care what size motor it is. Obviously, from the racer standpoint, you know the difference between the 3 engines because they're just bigger and badder and faster. What, from your experience working with your average race fan, like the ones that come to the racetrack and you get to, hey, we're here for the first time, thanks for coming, here's an autograph, stuff like that. What's your experience been on that level? Where do they know? Can they feel the difference? What's your take on that between the 3 different types of sprint cars?
Yeah, so from the fan aspect, honestly, I think it, like you said, a lot of people don't really know the difference or even care for the difference. It's a sprint car and it's good racing. So, really for a fan, it's as long as it's got a wing on top and got open wheels, I think they're entertained. So, but from the driver aspect, luckily for me, I kind of skipped the 305 deal and went straight to the 360s and was able to get a lot of laps and experience in that thing before we moved up to the 410. And really just the difference from the 360 and the 410 is unbelievable. It's 200 horsepower difference, and when you think about it like that, it's crazy to think that you can have a race car that has that much difference in power. But it's really fun to run, and there's a lot of differences for the fan to be able to tell the difference, but it's just real small differences. So with the 410, we've got down nozzles. You can see those going right directly into the head by the exhaust, and that typically only 410s have those. And then with the 360s and the 305 difference, you can kind of see a little bit more of space in between there. Just the size of the engines, let alone difference. So it's really cool to be able to see everybody kind of go out there and, with the Elite Series, it's kind of more of an open motor role where people can run some good 360s against the 410s and really be competitive. So it's good to be able to go out there and be competitive and run against guys like that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Let's talk about your progression. I mean, back from the mid, to 2010s, early 2010s, from junior sprints, up to this right here. Just kind of talk about how that's all worked out for you. You kind of mentioned there that you skipped some stages right there. Just kind of talk about how all this came together for you, and it's come together really, really quick for you, Blake.
Yeah, it has. Really, I honestly started racing about 20 years ago, and things progressed quickly. I started when I was about 8 years old and ran the junior sprints for a few years, and we were lucky enough to pick up the Tulsa Shootout win. And after that, we moved up to the restrictor, which is just the first step of the micro rankings. Had some restrictor plates in there, and just kind of got used to those kind of cars, and had some success with that too. Was able to pick up some few championships with the racetrack locally here at Port City, and then with ASCS too also. So after that, we kind of went up the next stage and went to the micro outlaws, which have a little bit bigger engines and bigger wings. And at that point, that was the fastest I've ever been was in the micro. And we started to travel a lot more with that. There was a lot of tracks able to run the outlaws for some pretty decent money around the country. So I got a little bit more experience running and racing with Power Eye when they had their good winged outlaw deal going on, and able to race with some really fast guys. And after that, I was able to move into a midget for a couple of years with Hard 8 Racing here out of Tulsa. And that's where I gained a lot of experience outside of the micros and really got comfortable in a car, other than just the micros. So I really enjoyed doing that and was able to go run quite a bit across the country in that too. Was able to travel up to Missouri and Kansas and do a little swing with the Power Eye guys that come through. And, I was able to be teammates with Donnie Ray Crawford and Jonathan Beeson. So for me to be able to bounce ideas off them and, just learn from those guys and be able to be teammates with them was awesome for me as a young driver, being able to just get some experience with those guys. And at that point, I was about 16 years old. And, the next step was going to sprint cars. And, of course, as a kid, that was always my dream, was to run sprint cars. And I always look forward to being able to run ASCS. That's something that I saw locally when I was growing up as a micro driver. I could see the ASCS guys come in and really look forward to seeing those guys come into town, and just one day wanted to race a sprint car like that. So, our goal was to be able to run that, and eventually I was able to get a couple nights in a sprint car and really just get my feet wet. And it was awesome just to be able to finally get in a sprint car. And thanks to a family local here, the McClellan family, Mike and Nancy, had a sprint car that they let me run one night down in Lawton, just a few hours from home, and kind of a local track. I was able to run my micro there and my midget growing up, so kind of familiar with the place and comfortable there, and was able to run a sprint car there for the first time, and picked up our heat race win first night out, and had a really good night. Ran 7th, which doesn't sound stellar, but it was awesome for us to be able to go out there and run ASCS with guys that I was looking up to growing up racing against. So just being able to get some experience doing that was awesome for a few years. And at that point, we felt like we really wanted to hit it hard and just need the right opportunity, and just bouncing around a little bit, just trying to get experience. And we teamed up with Bruce Griffith in 2013, car owner out of Houston, Texas, and was able to gain some really valuable experience with him, and ran 2013 at a lot of tracks in Texas. So I was being able to travel a lot and see some new tracks that I typically wouldn't be able to see and run. So I was bouncing around doing a lot of tracks down there in Texas, able to go down to Corpus Christi and a lot of the tracks down in Houston and Bronco Speedway, and was able to really get some good experience. And in 2014, Bruce wanted to run the national tour. So that's when I got my real big break, was to go run the ASCS national tour. So that was when, we really buckled down and tried to build a really good team, and was able to hire my best friend as my crew chief at the time. And, at that point we didn't know anything. We were just trying to do as best we could every weekend. And we were just fresh out of high school for me. So I was 18 years old, and my friend was 18 years old, and Bruce pretty much gave us full reign. So it was nice to be able to go out there and kind of learn and do that in 2014. And at the end of that season, we split our ways, and we started our family-owned team. And at the beginning of 2015, we hit it really hard for our family-owned team. We wanted to run the whole ASCS tour, and really we ran from 2015 till now as a family-owned team. And racing in 2015, we were racing with guys like Jeff Swindell and Jason Johnson and Johnny Herrera. So we had some really stiff competition and some really good people to learn from. So it was awesome being able to race against those guys. And for me, I wanted to beat them. So every year I was able to get a little bit better, to get get more consistent and learn how to be more consistent for a points championship. And luckily in 2021 and 2022, we were able to pick up the championships back to back. And, that was our goal from the beginning when we started our own team in 2015 was we wanted to win championships. So to be able to do that 2 years in a row was really awesome for us. And we definitely wanted to keep going forward. So we were able to purchase some 410s and kind of get our feet wet during the season those 2 years and run a couple races throughout the year. And after 2022, we wanted to go ahead and bounce around and run some more 410 stuff and just get some more experience. And we were able to do that this year. And as you guys have seen, we've been running with the World Outlaws and
That's right.
All-Stars and running ASCS and been very fortunate to be able to run against a lot of good competitors and with the people that we have helping us and our sponsors. We felt like this year was the best year to do that. So we've been fortunate to be able to have some good runs, but just like everybody, it's an up and down season. We've had some good runs and some bad runs, but really when it's all said and done, it's not been a bad year. So picked up a few wins and like this last weekend, we were able to pick up our first 410 race win. So it meant a lot for us as a team and, kind of gives us that confidence boost we needed throughout the year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, they actually, I don't know if you knew, I mean, you probably do. They brought back the Gulf South, ASCS Gulf South, and they ran a couple of races here towards the end of the season, ready for a full-blown effort in 24. And I tell you, those 410s with the ASCS Gulf South, they move the needle at some of the different racetracks that Rodney and I go announce at. You say ASCS, sprint cars on the marquee out front, they go crazy, and they come start flocking into that racetrack to watch them cars.
Yeah, that's awesome. I saw they ran down in Waco last weekend. I thought that was maybe their first weekend, but I really look forward to seeing what Chris can do down there because it seems like he's putting a really good effort into it. It seems like.
Yeah. Blake, I would love to ask you. Let's kind of talk about Knoxville. I know you were there this year. Kind of talk about. That place. It's one thing. The history, just everything right there. Just kind of talk about that racetrack right there. That's one of those ones where it'll humble you really, really fast. You can go out and be really good, and then it kind of puts you back in your place really quick. Just kind of talk about Knoxville and the Knoxville Nationals.
Yeah, that's one of those places that, you can, like I say, I've been able to travel a lot of tracks, and go to a lot of different places and get some pretty decent experience at places. And you go there and you kind of throw all that stuff out the window. You can't really run the car how you would normally run a car, and being a half mile, a lot of it's momentum. So you guys have seen it before. There's only a handful of guys that can really get around there right. Be able to operate it around the bottom and the top is really, it's a craft of its own. So when we go there, our heads definitely buckle down. We're trying to be as fast as possible, and really right from the beginning of the night, you got to be on point. So got to get a good qualifying lap, and that means everything. And really for the Nationals, you got to be on point the whole time, get as many points as possible, and just have a great week from the beginning.
So Blake, before we cut you loose, I have a question about racing in Oklahoma. I think that it doesn't get a lot of respect that it deserves because you guys were kind of centrally located where if you want to come run down some races in Texas, up in North Texas, you can get some of those. You can go to races up in the Midwest, Missouri, Nebraska, some of those. Talk about the state of racing itself in Oklahoma.
Yeah, well, it is a cool location to be out of. So like really in about 7 hours, we can be anywhere it seems like, and have a lot of racetracks in that little radius there of 7 hours. And what's crazy is there's only a handful of tracks that race around here, and especially that have sprint cars throughout the season. So there's not a lot of racing going around. There's a lot of ASCS bouncing in and out, but there's not a lot of local stuff going on for the injected ASCS stuff. So for us, it's really got to travel a little bit, but it's crazy to see how many drivers and teams are based out of Oklahoma. I think it has a lot to do with just I think there's a lot of history here going back to the 60s and 70s, and with Tulsa Speedway and with the NCRA around here, and ASCS, of course, starting here in the 90s. It's I think that's really got a big thing to do with it. But for us, it's a great location to be. We can do a lot of racing just in this little area.
No doubt. So, Blake, I know Thursday you'll be at 67 Speedway. What else you got set for the end of the year, man? I know we kind of start to dwindle this thing down. It's big race time. What else is on tap for you?
Yeah, it kind of slows down a little bit, but we have a lot of racing left. So we'll do the short track nationals, and then after that, we'll go up to Wichita and Lakeside with the Outlaws and run 2 nights, and then we'll go back down to the Dallas area and go there for Devil's Bowl with the Outlaws.
Yeah.
And the weekend after that, we'll go to finish out the season with ASCS, run their finale at Lake Ozark, and then there's a big paying 410 race here in November. So we've got a lot of races here close, and we can run our 410 and 360. So we're looking forward to finish out the year strong.
Yep. Love it, man. Way to go this weekend. Thanks for jumping on, dude. Have a good time with the family, man. Take that family time and just enjoy, and let's do this again, man. This has been a lot of fun. We appreciate you jumping on with us.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Yeah, anytime. We really appreciate it. Appreciate you guys having us on.
You got it, man. Take care.
Thank you.
You bet. There he goes. Blake Hahn. Additional information, BlakeHahnRacing.com. And that's a dude where, I mean, that's a very, very accomplished sprint car racer right there.
Yeah, he really is. He's done a lot. He's done a lot with sometimes a little. But definitely, it's so weird when you find out, and we see it all the time, right? With all the different racers that we interview from time to time. You've got the guys that had their family-owned team, and it was a nice, close-knit family, and then they get the break and they go to the big team.
Yeah.
Then you get the guys that kind of have the big team, and then they want to go back to their family team and have a renaissance with the family team. So it's always weird to see how that dynamic works when you talk about somebody going back to do the family team. It's a little more stressful when it's got the, when your ass is sitting on a pocketbook that makes all the payments on these race cars. It gets the hot seat, right? So it's always cool to see some of the success stories or some more happier stories when these guys come back to the family teams and start running well and start doing well.
Yeah, and I love what you asked him right there, because I think a lot of times it gets undersold, the impact of sprint car racing and stuff in Oklahoma. I mean, I know here in Texas we like to talk shit about Oklahoma, whatever. But
what time is it?
7:04 p.m. and OU still sucks, but not you, Blake Hahn, not you, my man. This is it's one of those things to where you look at the Tulsa Shootout, you look at the Chili Bowl, you look at all of these races. That's it really is. That's an impact place right there, and I think it's really undersold. Just the entire, whether you go up north or along the coast right there, Mississippi is huge. I've learned here lately that Mississippi is massive when it comes to dirt track racing. And I think that that's really a cool thing. And Texas is kind of fitting in right there. And Blake was talking about right there, racing in Texas and different spots. And he'll be back. And, being a two-time, American Sprint Car Series national champion, back-to-back, 21 and 22. I mean, that's a huge thing right there. And I love the impact of ASCS. I mean, that's, and that's where I think dirt track racing is so cool. You got ASCS, you got IMCA, you got USRA, you've got all that. And over here in short track racing, we're still trying to figure our ass out, with, super late model series battling each other, can't get their fucking schedules in line and all these different things. I mean, that's the impact of dirt track racing right there to what he's talking about right there. Mm-hmm. How cool that is at what they do.
I think it becomes a unique situation. We're hoping that we want Chris to succeed, right? With Gulf South coming back. Because you and I have both seen the impact in the grandstands. Yes, it costs money to get the ASCS cars there, but as we talked to Selby Holder, last week or 2 weeks ago, when you put ASCS sprint cars on the marquee, it moves the needle. And that doesn't happen a lot with certain racetracks. But, like when we ran ASCS, the return of ASCS, when I announced it at Texana, I had 4 or 5 people kind of, hey, did you really say ASCS Gulf South is coming back? I'm like, yeah, they'll be here on July 22nd or whatever the date was. And they're like, wow. And when ASCS showed back up, when you could feel the excitement and the atmosphere there at Texana. But boy, when they started taking off, it was like it moved the needle and it resonated in the grandstands of, oh, this is something special. These cars are badass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was a good night there at Rocket. With the Rocket Launcher 30. I mean, talking right there with Blake Hahn. He wins there in the ASCS Outlaw Sprints. I mean, you had the Mod Lights with Taylor Hunter winning. Our man in the non-wings. I was going to reach out to him as well. I just ran out of time to get Paul White on here. And I mean, how great is that? I mean, the non-wings. I mean, that's the beauty of that you have them both. And Paul White, That dude, I mean, it's like
just outstanding.
I
Not
tell
that
you.
we're calling him old, but at his age, he's still kicking ass.
No, I tell you.
And everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it doesn't matter what he does. I mean,
From a sprint car to a stock car,
Yeah,
he's
man.
up in front battling for wins and everything that dude gets in.
I watch him in Waco, and it's like the dude just keeps coming out in different classes and doing different things. And it's like, there's Paul White again. I mean, that's how good that dude is, and that is the legend of Paul White. And he wins there at Rocket. And again, what a great show for Rocket. I mean, what a great show for Rocket. I mean, that looked like a hell of a lot of fun.
It really did. And, the sky was falling when KR left. But so Stairs he's held his own this year. Obviously, he's still got a really good team with him to make that stuff happen. But, Sester's done a hell of a job on his own there at Rocket this year.
Mm-hmm. Great comment there from Magic Mike Knotts. We will get to that. We will definitely talk about that here coming up in just a minute. But talking about Kevin Sester, talking about Kevin Rogers, talking about all of these great folks that do amazing jobs at racetracks. Let's go to the hotline again, because here we go. It's we talk all the time. We are very proud that ourselves here with the Revved Up Sports Show and our partners at Lone Star Speed Zone, Whipple Motorsports Media, kind of being the commissioner, kind of being the guider, kind of being the lawyer here that puts all this together. We once again, it's time to. We did Driver of the Year here just a couple of weeks back. It's time to talk promoters again, and that to me. Unsung heroes right here. Unsung heroes are the promoters. Let's go to the hotline once again. Our man, Phil Whipple. Phil, how's the Jazz, my man?
Hey, the Blues is mighty fine. Good evening to you, Rodney. Good evening, Bobby. So good to be back with you guys again and calling for first here this evening instead of from my regular little abode in Auburn, calling from up on the mid-coast in Rockland, Maine, and loving life from Anthony Garassi and the Boston Blues All-Stars, as a matter of fact.
Man, can you lay the phone on the stage and let us hear some blues and just kind of, we can kind of chill out, smoke a cigar, do all that cool stuff?
Yeah, you'd really dig the show. This guy just got the Blues Music Award this past spring in Memphis as Keyboard Pianist of the Year from the Blues Foundation. And so he is an award-winning pianist that played all the world over. And the great Barrett Anderson on lead guitar with him. I had Barrett play for me when I was doing some blues gigs at the Sapphire Club down in Auburn a few years back. So real nice to see Barrett play again. And Anthony's high end. It's they're jamming. They're going at it. The dance floor is full. This place, Rock Harbor Brewery, is shoulder to shoulder again like it is, which was weird on a Monday night, right, guys? But it's a tradition that promoter Paul Benjamin has been doing for many years up here, and he's built a loyal following. And so he puts about 100 people in this place every Monday night loyally, and we have national quality blues on a weekly basis. Aren't we spoiled, really?
Phil, let me tell you, another reason I have to get you to Texas. We have in Austin, probably about 10 miles south from where I'm at, we have Blues on the Green. And it's a thing where folks come out and you sit out there, open air, huge stage. You take your blankets, you take your drinks, you just sit out there, and there are folks playing blues out there in a cooler time of the year, my man. When you get up here, I'm taking you to Blues on the Green. You would love that, brother.
Oh, man, am I looking forward to that. I'll take you up on that, brother. Hey, I'm glad you were kind of touching on the promoter side of things, because isn't it amazing, for the fourth consecutive year, a track promoter who went the extra mile to keep racing alive is being recognized in Texas. Officials at your partners at Race on Texas and you good folks at the Revved Up Sports Show have lucky enough to back this once again. It's hard to believe it's year 4, guys, but I'm going to start right off tonight by thanking, as you alluded to earlier in the day, Roddy, the work that the guys on my selection committee have done, because this is never an easy task. I'm just the lucky guy that kind of gets to oversee it, and I make a nomination, and they make nominations, and then the deliberations and the talks begin. And this year it was extensive. Every year it's extensive because as you just mentioned, brother, there's a lot of guys that put a lot of effort into their places. There's a ton of them that had a good season this year, despite some challenges. We had, you had triple-digit heat there for most of the summer, so a lot of guys, I think Bobby saw it firsthand down in South Texas with some Owens places. The car count got hurting in July and August and stuff. A lot of guys, no guys can, except for a few, can say, we had solid car counts all summer long. Yep. Well, that was a challenge for some folks all year. And I think there were other challenges. Weather all spring, right? They fought a lot of weather. Look how much weather plagued our man Rogers at his new gig at Architects this year. I think he told me once back about early summer, midway summer, he said, Phil, I gotten about 8 out of the first 16 shows I was supposed to have in. So there was a lot of challenges on the promoter side this year. But once again, the guys on my crew selected a real good guy for a transformation. Remember how we awarded, actually, I'll be honest, we created this award in 2020 for Pittman, the way he transformed Texana. Well, we have a similar situation this year. We have a guy who is on year 3 with the crew that he's got now at the helm of this place, and he's really made some gains with it. And if you boys are ready, I think we could name him now.
Do you want the breaking news intro there?
Oh, yeah,
or?
hang on one
yeah,
second.
we got to key that up here. Hold on.
Well, if that's diggable, if that's findable, yes, because we do have good breaking news to spread here this evening.
Got it right here, Phil. Here we go. Time for the announcement.
Look,
Boom.
Look at that. Officials this year, my friend, are proud to announce the work of the selection committee has chosen Joey Smith from 105 Speedway as 2023 Texas Short Track Promoter of the Year. Smith is part, for those of you who don't know, is part of the management team at 105 Motor Speedway in Cleveland, Texas. In the past 3 seasons, Smith and his partners have transformed a neglected, struggling facility into a thriving entity, bustling with racers, fans, and competitive racing. Their efforts have not gone unnoticed. And I'm going to quote my boss and Race on Texas founder, Chris David, here, because he's the main one. Him and Rodney back in this deal. Chris says, once again, our selection committee members have made a great choice. He has seen with his own eyes the changes and improvements at 105 since Joey and his partners took over the helm. It's been encouraging. And Mr. Chris David proud to recognize their hard work. And I think, Rodney, you would agree. It's no easy task to take a place that's, not washed up, but there was room for improvement there. And when that Cleveland Motorsports Group LLC was founded a few years ago, Joey being kind of at the helm, they took it on. They took on the task and the challenge. And boy, now you talk to Caleb, my man Caleb McFarland, you talk to any of those guys that have seen it with their own eyes. They turned it around. They've had a few programs run a little late again, and that's been a challenge for a lot of guys this year. I look at elapsed time on every one of our shows. In fact, I got a chart here how many times our broadcasts, all of them, take, because that's a pretty good indication of how long the shows run and stuff. And sure, they've had a few long shows, but a lot of guys did this year. Nobody can say, every one of our shows was 3.5 hours. I'll say BS. No, they weren't. There was tons and tons of 5 and 6 hour shows again this year. And that doesn't do the sport any favors, but they're working hard down there at 105, and I congratulate personally Joey and his colleagues and staff and partners for what they've done down there. I said once I dreaded covering a race at 105, and boy, now I look forward to it. Now I was lucky enough to. That's an awful thing to admit. Now, and I'll tell Joey to his face. Now, with the work he's done, it's a pleasure to cover a race there. Now, when I covered that massively, heavily attended tribute to Howard, man, of course, the thing that was going on for him was a big deal, but just the way they executed it all with so many cars, and they had a couple other occasions with a lot of cars. And they pulled it off much better than they used to do when they got big numbers in the past. And so they really made some significant gains. Again, congrats to Joey Smith and his staff, the Texas Short Track Promoter of the Year out of 105. It's just for the transformation and turnaround. I just think it's really worth blowing the horn a little bit. Would you agree, Mr. Rodriguez?
Yeah, Phil, isn't that the one thing? I mean, you kind of mentioned there with Owen and Texana and all of that, and we hope that Cord and Owen are able to, what a catastrophe happened over there, this a couple of weeks ago with that storm. But it really is one thing like that where you get to what Joey has done here with 105. And when you talk about, I'm a big one that bitches about things lasting too long, the show lasting too long. But when that happens, odds are you have a pit full of cars, and that's probably why that's happening. And it really is impressive what they're doing. And to me, Phil, for him to do this in this market, and this is the one thing that kind of pains me about the asphalt track in Houston. This is the Houston area. This is the place where you can go out and make huge gains doing stuff. And I think 105, man, these guys are on the right track, and they're bringing. You had a marquee event this year with the Howard Willis Memorial. Man, just go back to that. This has been a big year for them out there. What a year out in Cleveland.
It really is, buddy. And when Caleb McFarland tells me to my face that they put dirt track racing back on the map in the greater Houston area, I take that for face value. He's the guy to me. That's why I went to him on the release, because he's the guy that's witnessed all this and that turf for a lot. And I think it takes a lot because there's a fluctuation down there. You've worked that Houston area market for a lot, dirt and the pavement side. It just fluctuates up and down, and it's tough to work it. But there is potential there, and obviously Joey and his colleagues see it, and they're working it, and they have put dirt racing back on the map and made it popular again in the greater Houston area, Southeast Texas. So yeah, I say hats off to them. I think it's great. They may be kind of growing more than the little asphalt bull ring that's kind of struggling to keep on. I want to see that live. Don't get it wrong, but these guys are making some big gains. I don't know what team players they are with other people around the area. That these days, everybody looks at that too. Well, what do they like for a team player? These days, it's getting so hard. The profitability is almost gone in this thing. Almost people have to focus on their own profit margin, their own bottom line, while trying to play nice with others at the same time. That's kind of the fine line I think they have to straddle, is to lay their own schedule out and try to make it so that they pull off good stuff and have it make a buck, but yet don't step on the toes of the other guys around their area too, right? So isn't it a fine balance in line? I really don't know anybody with a solid background in fabrication, motor building, all the stuff that Joey had would want to jump into the track management side of the sport, because it's really got to be, this day and age, a kind of a stressful situation.
No doubt.
Hey, Phil, does 105 race weekly, or are they bi-weekly track? They're a weekly track,
weekly.
Like Waco, right?
Weekly. Yep.
Yeah, they've been going weekly a lot lately anyway. They've been race after race after race. I used to think they were every two, but that might be another thing that they kind of changed to tighten the schedule up thing and establish a routine as they were refining and making improvements in the overall product and package down there. And so, yeah, they've been cranking out weekly shows left and right here lately. And you just think they might have just had the Kent Lewis Classics. That sound right,
That's right.
Rodney, for a sprint car deal or something there?
Yep.
Just had the Kent Lewis Classics. So, yeah, and there's been a bunch of pretty premiere-ish kind of events. They're beginning to host premiere type events there now. So I just say hats off to them. They've stepped it up, and it's nice to see that place flourishing.
Yeah, no doubt. And, of course, we will have an award right there, courtesy of 317 Awards. We will get that to Joey and the great folks at 105. But I kind of elaborate a little bit, Phil. I mean, we were talking about that when it comes to you wrangling the committee and different things right here. And there really is a committee. I mean, a lot of folks are like, no, there ain't no damn committee. I'm like, yes, there really is. There really is a bunch of folks that are putting all of this together. I mean, kind of talk about that. There are so many worthy recipients every year. I mean, you look around here from all the way up to the Oklahoma border, all the way down to South Texas. I mean, there are so many great promoters that put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and their heart and money that they don't have into this. This is not an easy decision. It never has been. It never has been. There are so many great people that do this.
Oh, there was other good candidates. When we created this thing in 2020, there were other good candidates that year beyond Owen too. So the four guys that we grabbed for the selection committee, they're industry. I'll say again, they're industry veterans, level-headed industry veterans with great perspective, and so I admire them. I am them all the time and thank them even when I don't need to kind of reach out to them. I still kind of keep in touch and talk with them a lot because I appreciate what they do for me. They give me this substance. They make the decisions. They have the discussions and they hash out stuff and they talk about drama versus facts. And you nominate somebody with these guys, you better have facts to back it up and stuff because they want to hear facts, not just horseshit. So they're good guys. And can I tell you, maybe I ought to hint at what we're doing in the years to come. I guess we started to maybe a couple of weeks ago, but now I asked the boys, what are we going to do to grow this thing next? What do we do next with this thing? And they said, well, if we're going to start including Louisiana promoters and stuff, we also better include Oklahoma and Arkansas promoters. And what we need to do in order to do that correctly, Phil, is to get representation on the selection committee from those states. And so now they're behind the scenes. These guys on my SC are working to contact other individuals from Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. And next year, we'll consider promoters from those states as well, because we'll have representation on the selection committee from there. And we'll have even bigger discussions and more in-depth stuff. And we'll open it up some. Those guys, to my knowledge, those states don't recognize promoters, short track promoters individually as such, as we've been doing now for the fourth year. So we'll open it up a little bit. Texas guys are thinking, oh, shit, we ain't going to be in the running anymore. Well, yes, you are too, guys. Yeah. Will we pass it around a little bit? Probably to Arkansas and Louisiana? You're darn right we will, because everybody knows what Bubba and Rollo have been doing. If you can't see how those guys have been going with Sabine and Boot Hill, you're blind or you're living under a rock, right? So and we're not just going that route to add those guys. I just use those as examples. There's other ones too. But we have to kind of grow and expand this thing, I think, because it's time. We're rocking and rolling, and we may consider in driver of the year. Remember, I got one more in a couple more weeks.
That's
the Touring Series driver of the year. Those guys got a couple more races left to run, so I'll let them probably pan out. The Toms and the Arms guys and those guys got a little bit more racing left to do, so I may need a little more time before I can pin that one down, guys. But we probably will expand that one a little bit too, because there's a lot of guys, when you think about it, and I'll get your input on this, who not necessarily Texas natives, but they race in Texas a lot and thus have quite an impact on the Texas short track landscape. Would you agree? I mean, maybe when we do this driver of the year thing for both weekly and touring, we may look at guys who call Louisiana, Arkansas, or Oklahoma home, but happen to do a lot of their racing within Texas. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Hey, wait a minute, Phil. You talking about Bubba and Rollo? Are we talking about Sanford and Son? What are we doing here?
You're going to use that opportunity to those homeboys' names on the bio. Crawdaddy.
I'm over here. I'm holding Bobby down. I'm like, let me do this. Let me do this.
He was ready for that one.
Yeah, Sanford and Son. Sorry, Bobby. Go ahead, man.
Oh, hey, that other little project you wanted me to work on for you, the other thing we're talking about, I'll get some more information to you. I found a way of an old school museum that used to do it as an educational foundation.
You did?
Yeah. Which is not a route I thought we would go, but I'll message you more about it later. But I just thought I just thought I'd let you know that I haven't forgot about that project. I actually worked on it, so.
Well, thank you, Bobby. I appreciate it very much. You could even fill in old Rodriguez at some point in time after the show, what we got working behind the scenes with.
Oh yeah, he knows. Yeah, because he was surprised that it was set up that way too. So.
Yeah, guys. I'm sorry. I forget stuff. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. Phil, I do want once again. I mean, thank you for what you do. I mean, your efforts here are tireless. I mean, we have a lot of folks that, and I do want to ask you about that once again. I mean, you're knee deep in this now. You know, covering racing here, and isn't it cool? Like what you're talking about right there. It really seems like everything, your efforts and, efforts with us and Race on Texas and different folks, that we have really grown this thing to where it's not so much about Texas. We are covering a great vicinity and a great area right now, man. We've made some hellacious strides here in the last 3 or 4 years, haven't we?
It really feels like we have. I don't know why. I get a little over assertive. Debbie calls me. Said, you jumped into their world and just told them what the hell they were going to start doing in the next few years. Who are you to do that, Phil? And I said, I didn't even know how to answer. I said, they asked me to come on the show one night and talk. And then Chris David said, could you write an article or two for me? And look what the hell I'm doing now. And so I sort of stuck my nose in your world, Mr. Rodriguez. And yes, I said, I created this award. And then I created that award. And I said, let's start doing this and let's start doing that. And I get a little overzealous. And sometimes when stuff starts to go good, I get charged up and I say, well, maybe let's just try this idea. Now, as I get older, I'm a little more cautious of what ideas I voice to people. I want them to be well hashed out. And then the ones that really try, I make sure that they have merit and are worthy doing it. I don't want to have time to piss away on them or offend others if they don't pan out. And so I'm a little more careful now when I pitch an idea or when I try to execute it. But I will say these award deals, I think, are meaningful, and these are good. I think Driver of the Year and Promoter of the Year is essential for us to keep doing as long as we can, and I really feel strongly about that whole Hall of Fame thing, working hard behind the scenes, like Mr. Chaffee's going to help me do it. So I'm so appreciative of some help behind the scenes, Bobby. I'll tell you that right now. And I really think that when we get the behind the scenes done thing, and how we have to channel it and get it working, when we begin to get it on paper and notarized and so forth, and then begin to put a selection committee together for that, and then those guys start hashing out the first class to induct it, it's going to be big. It's going to be exciting stuff for us, as a source of pride and a source of excitement when we get around to calling the people and notifying them that they're in the first class to induct. That's something I really look forward to when we get to actually execute that. But for now, Rodney, it's nuts the gains that we've made, to see the strides we've made, and even over on the Dirty Air side, kid, I think we've expanded your reach with the pavement side of things too. Would you agree?
Oh man, are you kidding? people up north know who the hell I am. It's like, okay. Yeah, no, man. I love that. Hey, speaking of up north and dirty air, I'd love to ask you before we'll cut you loose, let you go enjoy the night. Hey, yesterday, final race at Rockford. I mean, that's another one of those racetracks. I mean, I hate when we lose a racetrack, but man, what a great history right there and all of that, man. That sucks right there, man. And so much emotion. I saw Rich Bickle yesterday and so forth, man. I hate losing racetracks, and that sucks. I mean, that really sucks.
It does suck, buddy. I will agree 100%. That place did have a rich history. I cultivated a lot of talent out of there. That's one of those Midwestern shining stars. And so, when Rockford went away, it was a big loss to the sport. We're lucky that we have as many. You keep talking on promoters and how committed they are. As many promoters and the race fans that they've developed for core following to keep these other venues alive and thriving, because there are still going to continue to be ones that fade away and drop off the scene, and we'll have to kind of accept that. We've even seen it here in my backyard. We lost a track we never thought we'd lose here a couple of years ago with the great Beach Ridge Motor Speedway that J.B. McConnell built in 1949. We had it for decades. It was just an institution in southern Maine. The Beach Ridge Motor Speedway was killer. Generations of racers and fans, and then they announced one day at a drivers' meeting it was going away, and a couple more races were left, and then it was going to be locked up for good, and now it's just like they're demolishing it. It's gone, and we thought, what? So it's, I felt it up here in the Pine Tree State, too. That's a tough deal no matter what part of the country it hits you in, buddy, and, it's a painful thing to witness, Rodney.
Yeah. Hey, isn't that where you met Dave Moody? Was it Beach Ridge?
I met Moody at Thunder Road and Catamount. Probably met him at probably Thunder Road personally at 92, I would guess. But, we chewed on the same dust at the road and at Catamount Stadium and at Beach Ridge for a good many years. Moody announced when the late Tom Curley had his Pro Stock Tour, the American Canadian Tour was first going. It was a Pro Stock Tour. Boy, did Moody call. Do some Googling at Beach Ridge Motor Speedway on the YouTube. Not Googling, on YouTube. And you'll hear Moody announcing old ACT Pro Stock races from the Beach Ridge Motor Speedway. Junior Hanley and Derek Lynch, by the way, and those guys. You'll love it, dude. You'll absolutely love it.
Oh, man. Good stuff right there. Good stuff up north. Well, Phil, thank you for jumping on. I know you've got stuff to do tonight, but a big congratulations, 105 Speedway, Joey Smith, Promoter of the Year, and well-deserved, like you said. I think the most impactful thing that you told me when we were kind of going back and forth, transforming a place and making it, not that it wasn't legit before, but now it is a place that people want to put on the calendar, and they want to go find badass dirt track racing in Texas. That's what they've done at 105, my man. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for all of your hard work, and thank you for corralling all of those people that you have to mess with, and always a pleasure, my man.
Thank you. Very, very welcome, Rodney. Thank you for the opportunity tonight to come on yet again. I feel like I get greedy with your guys' time, and I apologize for that. But thank you for the opportunity to come back on. And when I get my final ducks in a row on Touring Series Driver of the Year, I'll be happy to come on and chat with you gentlemen again.
You damn right.
Just wait till you see what we're going to send you in the mail here in about 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah. You got something coming soon.
You got a package coming, and you're going to love it.
SD Jones, special delivery heading your way.
Wow, so you guys are throwing me a teaser on me. You're throwing me something that's coming this way. Or some kind of little T-shirt I had. You got a sticker or something, man?
T-shirt? Come on, man. Better than that, dude. Better than that.
Okay.
Maybe not a woman in the mail, but something really cool.
Oh, okay. It's not inflatable and it's not blonde. It's not inflatable. I can't blow her up.
Well, we can get you that too.
We can send that in the package. I mean, no pump included. That costs extra to ship.
There may be 1 or 2 of those laying around the studio, but we can get you something like that if you need it, my man.
With a taco sticking out of her mouth. Yeah,
there it is.
Laying around that place, Round Rocks, you got a taco sticking out of her mouth.
Taco, a sausage, something, my friend. Something, my man.
Hey, boys, thank you so much for your time. It's been a real honor and a pleasure. I think I'll get back to Blues World.
Enjoy the blues, my man, and we'll talk soon, man. Thank you. Love you, brother.
See you, Phil.
All right. Love you guys. Take good care. Have a great night.
You got it. Take care. There he goes, Phil Whipple. And it really is, he does so much behind the scenes. I mean, doing all of that, because he'll kind of message me every now and then when he's working with the group, and I'm like, and there really is a group. I mean, I know that we'll get messages tomorrow about like, well, who the hell? You guys decide this. No.
We don't want the pressure to decide that.
I ain't fucking never been to 105. I don't even know where it is. I mean, when I'm going to HMP, I see Cleveland that way. I've never been there, but I can tell you one thing that I can totally appreciate is what Joey Smith has done at 105 Speedway. And like we talk about, the first year there with, and even with Rob and Libby Poole, what their connection with the racers, when they were the recipient of that. And I like to say more of that, the recipient. It's not a winner. It's not a winner. It's a recipient, because all of these folks, from way up there to way down there, these people are all winners because they're keeping this sport alive. So it's a recipient of people that people getting together to recognize somebody that has maybe been, has excelled a little bit more.
Somebody that has been underappreciated yet excelled at a difficult time.
Yeah, and the whole part about it is, I mean, go back and look at the history of this award from the time that we've done it, from Owen all the way down now to Joey Smith. What they have done is they have had great car counts. They have had satisfied racers. They have had folks that want to go race there. They've had monumental events, and I know a lot of times I talk about, you have a big event, and I get a lot of pushback where it's like, well, if you're going to have a big event, you got to have a sponsor. Well, you know what? They go fucking find a sponsor. And that's a big part of that right there, to where it's like, and I mean, a lot of these folks, most of them, this isn't what they do for a living. They don't own these racetracks. They just go out and find a way to make this work to where it's going to be beneficial to the race fan, to the driver. And yes, all of these racetracks, there's always going to be something where somebody's not happy. You are not going to satisfy.
Oh yeah, that's the nature of racing.
Yeah, you can have. You can look at a Humpy Wheeler or you name the promoter. Back in the days, here in Austin with Jake Wallace and the different folks that I saw in Austin and San Antonio and Corpus Christi. Back in those days, there was always somebody that's going to be pissed off, and that's just part of having that job. I'm telling you, the jobs that I don't want to have. I don't want to be a tech man. I don't want to be a promoter. Those are thankless, tireless jobs that those folks do.
You know what? I just thought of something.
You want to be the tech man?
No. Well, maybe I'll tell you off the air.
No, it's all right.
Something we could name that Promoter of the Year award in honor of like one of the greatest Texas promoters ever.
The Neil Upchurch.
The Neil Upchurch.
You read my mind.
Neil Upchurch, Texas Promoter of the Year.
Oh, he'd be all pissed off at us if he was alive. He's like, I don't need that named after me.
Yeah, I don't know.
you know how he was, man. That dude, he, Neil, and again, Neil.
You can go back and listen to that on the archives as well. He was with us. Very in-depth interview.
He was with us, just telling great stories, and that's a man that my wife vividly told me a story about a night that you and I were at THR. And we were down there, doing our work, and Neil's like, I don't like these guys.
He didn't like us at first, but he learned to love us.
If I had a gun, I'd shoot them both. You thought Nick Sanchez was mad.
Oh, yeah. He was hot that night.
Neil. Yeah, what a great job he did. What a great job. That's actually a good idea.
It just every once in a while, just poof.
It's actually a really good idea. I do kind of like that. We'll work on that. Lone Star 600 coming up this weekend. I do want to talk about some other things. Oh, I know what I wanted to mention. How about our man Caden Honeycutt punching that ticket there in the ARCA West with Bruce Cook Racing winning at All-American Speedway in California, getting set to head to Vegas. My goodness, that has been a long time coming right there for that dude. Man, that guy, there are so many guys.
Yeah, qualified second, just didn't put a wheel wrong all night long.
Dude works his ass off. And to see him finally punch that ticket right there. And that's where, when we talk about some of the younger racers and we talk about respect and the different things that may be lacking with some of the young competitors these days in the sport of auto racing, Caden Honeycutt punches every ticket. Every ticket.
He wins in everything.
I got to tell you, one of the coolest things was for me this year at COTA. I go walking up. You remember Caden? Caden ran there at COTA, and he's talking to all these media people. He's talking to all these sponsors. He's talking to all these people after his race. He had a good outing. A pretty good outing for him. And he's sitting there talking to all these people. I came walking up, and Caden's like, he's like, excuse me. Just kind of walked off, came over, shook my hand. gave me a hug. He's like, my goodness, I'm so glad that you're here. And that's, I mean, shit like that goes a long way. A long way.
One of the show originals, man. He's been with us for a long time.
There's no doubt about it, and a great support system there, with him. I mean, that's so cool. I was so happy to see him win that, and hell, I think he can go out and win a championship in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know the whole ins and outs, but yeah, he can go. He's going to should be racing at the Bull Ring the same weekend that the Cup cars are there in a couple of weeks. So.
But speaking of that, we were talking about some stuff earlier there with Blake, but Arclatech Speedway, you had the Doug Ingalls Memorial this past weekend, USRA Modifieds. Chris Hennigan, another friend of the show, the winner there. Oh, man. Derek Grigsby in the Limited Modifieds. Shocker. Justin Whitehead in the factory stocks.
There's another
there.
one.
And Corey Neal Jr., the winner there in the.
What did I say in the voiceover for Race on Texas? Justin Whitehead doing Justin Whitehead things.
I'll tell you what, man. That's one of those dudes where you put him in a bucket with Bubba Pollard and some of these guys, to where when they show up, it's not only the shock appeal of them being there, it's just watching them do what they do. I mean, they're so freaking good. I mean, you can sit there and watch these guys, and maybe they're a little bit off. Maybe they're off the pace or whatever. But when it's all said and done, they're going to be at the front of the pack. I mean, they're just that damn good. They're just that damn good.
Yeah, that 4 wide move that he pulled there, just as Caleb said, pick their pocket. I guess it was Caleb, or was it our other man? One of them said it. I don't remember which one. One of them said pick their pockets. I can't remember which one it was.
Damn guys, who knows?
Yeah, one of those guys over there.
Too damn many of them. Speaking of 105 Speedway, you had a great limited modified race out there. I mean, not only the congratulations to Joey Smith winning that, I think one of the coolest things this year with 105 has been with Howard Willis.
That Howard Willis race was legit, probably the biggest show of the year.
That was huge. That is
of any track. I think that's the biggest show of the year, other than maybe King of the Hill, like it always is.
Yeah, that was the race of the year, in my opinion, at this point.
Maybe we should do one of those events too. Maybe an award there too with the event of the year.
We are in sync.
I know we're doing good. We're doing good tonight.
I was just thinking that, man. The brainwave.
I was going to mention that earlier, but I kind of forgot when I got here.
Jason Downey over Howard Willis, and the cool thing is, Howard Willis told me at Texana, he's like, man, 50 years. He's like, I don't want to run all the time, but with the whole big thing that everybody else is making about me racing 50 years, I want to win a championship in my 50th year.
He's getting close.
He's getting real damn close. He's doing, hell, he even got points the night that he missed.
How do you do that? Pre-registering?
Yep. Yep, he did. He did. The mark of a champion right there. That's how you do that stuff. Really good stuff right there. Congratulations, Joey Smith, 105 Speedway, short track promoter of the year. And I love what Phil's talking about right there. I mean, Whip is right on. I mean, we got to expand this thing, because it is so much about where Texas now has kind of engulfed itself into the Gulf Coast. And yeah, we're going to grow that. We're definitely going to grow that. I saw a post, I think it was Magic Mike Knotts. I see it on the Facebook post. Andretti gets an F1 team. Well, it's about freaking time. Jeez, I'm tired of hearing about that. I mean,
now, just when is he going to buy Spire? But I guess Spire's on a spending spree of their own, so.
Well, I'm not sure he's going to be able to buy that now. I don't know if that's something that's going to work out at this point, but Andretti, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of money invested to go over there and run 20th.
Who's he got? Cadillac? Is who's supposed to be on the engine supplier?
Supposedly,
that's who's going to be on the bonnet, right? Yeah, the livery will say Cadillac.
Yeah, that's who it's supposed to be. I mean, I don't know.
Just like Red Bull's going to run a Ford that's built by Red Bull.
Yeah. I get
which is going to be a Honda. Yeah.
I get way confused on all that. Hey, before we get out of here, guys, we have to tell you about one of our great partners. We've kind of gotten off track today with all the different conversation, but let's hear from Phil Whipple talking about one of our great partners right here on the Revved Up Sports Show.
Hey racers, Phil Whipple here with the Revved Up Sports Show. For the past year, you've heard us talking about our partners over at Generation Race Cars. I'm proud to say they're back again this year, and they're off to a great start. Generation Race Cars, located in Springtown, Texas, continues to offer new chassis body combos all the way to turnkey sport mods and limited modifieds. All cars are built the same as you've seen in Victory Lane with drivers like Alex Hickam, Jeff Shepard, and Dean Abbey. All customers are valued and treated equally, so why not join the winning team? Justin Long is committed to giving each and every customer the time they deserve, along with a commitment to bring quality into every build. If you're ready to join the team, give the guys over at Generation Race Cars a call today at 817-528-2947. You put a lot into your racing program, so why not take it to Victory Lane with Team GRC?
You guys, Rodney Rodriguez from my friends at Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet in Brandon, Mississippi. A lot of folks looking for those GM crate engines, whether it be the 602, the 604, much sought after, whether it be on dirt or pavement. Lots of different places that you can run those crate motors. My friends here at Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet GM Performance Parts, they're going to give you the best part or the best price that you're going to find in the country. Check out my man Ryan Polk, 601-824-5457, or hit up rpolk at rogersdabbs.com. Get in touch with him. Let him tell you how he's going to get those engines to you. I mean, take a look right there. I mean, they're in stock. They are on the shelf and ready to get to you. Sealed crate GM engines. You can scan that QR code, and I promise you, you are not going to beat that price. Best price in the country. Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet GM Performance Parts in Brandon, Mississippi. Check them out and tell me you heard about them right here on the Revved Up Sports Show. And by the way, a little change right there. You don't have to call Ryan Polk. Message me. I would love to talk to you guys at the Lone Star 600 this weekend, and I can hook you up. I will get you the best price that you're going to find in the country on all the parts, on the powertrain, all that. I mean, I don't care whether you want a motor, you need a camshaft.
GM Performance Parts. You have the access to the catalog.
Damn right. I will get you whatever you want. I have that catalog logged in my head, and I will definitely get you everything that you're looking for. So moving forward, Bobby, here we go into a brand new week. Talladega thoughts. What did you think of all that shit yesterday?
It was just another Talladega race, really.
That's kind of my thought as well.
I mean, mediocre is not the right word for it because it was exciting, and it's not because they didn't have a big one. It's just there wasn't enough drama.
Yeah.
You know, you expect more. And not that I need drama in every race. I'm not like Chocolate Myers and all that. But you need a little bit of drama to drive the story, if you will. Just wasn't a lot of that for me yesterday, and I actually thought TMS was the better race.
I did too. They're heading to the Roval. I mean, we'll see what happens there. I know they're starting
the final race at the Roval too.
Yeah, that's right. Starting to build that up. Indianapolis heading back, going back to the Brickyard, and that's a whole different discussion we can have at a different time to where it's like, oh, that race sucks. I got to go back. Whatever. That's great.
The Crown Jewel is back.
The Crown Jewel.
It's like going. That's almost as important as the Southern 500 coming back to Labor Day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, come on. I mean, what is it really a bad thing to be racing on the oval at Indianapolis? I mean, I don't give a damn. I mean, we talk about cutting our left nut off. I would do that to race at Indianapolis on that oval. I don't give a damn what I'm driving. I would do it in my old dwarf car if I had the chance. I mean, that's going to be a good thing. And again, I think this car is going to be a little better, more conducive to what we're dealing with over there. Final thought, we were talking about Nick Sanchez and all that. I saw that Ryan Blaney did the burnout yesterday. I love the quote that he talked about in Victory Circle or in the media center yesterday, where they were talking
about Dale Lemon.
Yeah, he doesn't do burnouts. He doesn't do burnouts, and they asked him why he doesn't do burnouts. Ryan Blaney's answer, quote, "Well, Dale Inman told me the winner of the Kentucky Derby doesn't get off his horse and start beating the shit out of it." I like that.
That's good.
I like that.
That's good, solid advice.
I'm not a big burnout guy, but it's probably because I've never raced for a team that bought all the tires and all that. We had to do that ourselves. So anyway, I totally get that.
Yeah, it happens.
Good stuff. Rest of the week, my man, what's in store for you? It's going to rain.
It's going to rain. Not a whole lot. I don't have anything booked racing-wise until the Clash.
You ought to come to the 600, my brother.
I might, depending on the weather and the rain. UTSA's got an away game, so I could try to come up to the 600 and try to enjoy it, but then get back and come. I don't know. I hadn't really figured out the race weekend. Obviously, I can't get to the Oktoberfest because same thing. UTSA home game that night. I'll be in the same place as Milton Hope. He'll be announcing and I'll be watching and drinking beer. So it'll be. See, that's one thing. You always wanted me to get the sideline job, but if I got the sideline job, I couldn't sit in the stands and drink beer and watch football.
Well, I'll be at the Oktoberfest on that 14th out there with Marianne. Excited to be out with them. I know we talked about some of the different things happening there with CBS. Hopefully all that continues in motion. And, I don't know if this is going to be the last race for Marianne and H and Man Racing Promotions, but I think it's kind of cool if it is that I get to be a part of that. And I'll probably be drinking some of her hospitality beer up in the booth.
Yeah, some of that Alpha One beer.
Some of that Alpha One beer up in the booth with HE next to me saying, "I told you the yellow flag is out." One of the best parts of being at the Cotton Bowl Speedway. That's on the 14th. Great show, super cool stuff. Congratulations, Joey Smith, Texas Short Track Promoter of the Year. Blake Hahn for checking in. That's some great conversation.
That was a good conversation with Blake.
Great conversation. Great racer right there. We'll do it again next Monday. We are back. Be sure and like and share the YouTube page. That's where you may get some extra stuff every now and then. So keep doing that. He's Bobby. I'm Rodney. You guys have a great week, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, next Monday.
That's right. # Real Race Talk from Texas. It is the Revved Up Sports Show.